It's easy to see from this that the key to easier net zero building is to start with a building that consumes as little energy as possible. Less energy consumption means less energy generation, which is the costliest side of the equation. That's why our series on net zero building starts with the exterior envelope and ICF construction. It's a tried and true method of building and provides a foundation for a very, very efficient envelope. Let's hear again from Gary Mine, building technologist for Nudura, as we get into the details of an ICF foundation wall. Now I'm going to pour a conventional footing, right?
Yes.
Okay. What happens after the conventional footing? Where do I go from there? Why and how is it going to be different from, say, a traditional block wall or something like that?
It's very similar. The building step is the same. I mean, we're going to set down our insulated concrete forms on the footing. You need to adjust your plans for the increased dimension of your wall.
Okay.
But as far as stacking this, it's a very simple process with a few steps you need to pay attention to.
Okay, now this locking system, you were putting up this wall earlier, and I noticed that basically you set it in place, and then you just basically pound it in, it locks in tight one section to the next. Do you have to lap them, you know, like you typically do in a block installation?
Yeah, it goes up similar to a block. So with a block, you're doing a half lap. With an ICF, we like to have a 16-inch overlap from our corners. But our corners are made so that you just flip the corner over and it gives you that 16-inch automatically. So you're not relying on a tape measure to get things lined up. That's what these interlocks are doing for you.
Okay, and these spreads here, these frames, can they actually hold the concrete? I mean, from bursting the form?
Yeah, these are, we call them a web in the ICF industry. So that ties each foam panel together, and they're very strong. I mean, we have to pass testing. We're building large buildings with these 25 stories high. So
really?
You know that
you go 25 stories up with this stuff?
Yes, you can.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. What's the R value of the installation on either side?
So you've got R4 per inch on each side, and the total wall is R24.
Okay, so, and I guess the total wall matters at this point because you're looking at interior, exterior. What about the drainage on this side? Do I have to put a draining member on the outside as well?
Below grade, you have to waterproof or damp proof depending on your site conditions. And above grade, it depends on your exterior finish. If you're doing a brick veneer with an airspace, no additional Tyvek or air barriers are required.
What about weeping tile? Anything different about the weeping tile?
Nothing different. It's a conventional weeper with your free draining gravel and fill around it. And
in the footings, am I putting pins in to lock this together? Am I putting rebar up from the footings in order to lock this stuff together?
In your footings, you're going to have dowels. So you'll have rebar dowels, either a 10M or 15M bar, depending on your spacing. But that's typical to any foundation wall.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to brace these once they're up, and before you do your pour.
The bracing is more of a scaffold system. It's nothing. It doesn't add structure. What it does is it allows us to straighten the wall after the pour, so you get a nice true wall, and it also gives you an elevated work platform. Because a wall this tall, I can't pour it from the ground, so I need to be up. So our bracing incorporates many features at once. So you get to the top of the wall and you can straighten it and hold the wall up.
Okay. Is it more elaborate than a typical bracing that I might need for a block wall? Because I know once you build a block wall, you're putting up a couple of 2x4 and a couple of horizontal stringers and you're done. So what kind of bracing do I have to do for this?
This bracing is more pieces than putting up simple 2x4s because we need to resist the pressure of the concrete. With a block wall, you're setting a rigid piece and it's self-supporting. So you still have to put up masonry scaffold though. So our system or any ICF alignment system is less intrusive, takes up less space than a traditional masonry scaffold, which holds 6 feet off the wall. I mean, our systems come with a box channel and a turnbuckle, so they're more compact.
Of course, a great advantage of this is you don't have to strip the forms. If you're pouring a concrete wall, you're not stripping forms, you're not hauling forms, you're not bringing them in, you're not doing anything. Basically, the forms are this, and you're done.
Yeah, that's a big advantage we're seeing a lot of masonry contractors do the switch to ICF because they don't want to be carrying around 12-inch block, heavy blocks anymore. I can bring in large quantities. You saw when we brought this wall in, and it weighs 50 pounds.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, really, when you think about it, because I've actually hauled forms for, in tract building. The forms those guys use to pour basements in tract building, they are heavy.
You need cranes, right? They have cranes on their trucks to hoist them into the basements, where with this, it's just manpower. So you're less machinery you have to own on your job site and transport, you know, from A to B.
Yeah. No, they seem very convenient. I noticed too that you guys can you can fold yours so that you can pack them a little bit tighter and stuff like that in transportation.
Yeah, so you're not shipping air.
Yeah, don't ship air. Good idea. Let me read you something from the website of the National Research Council of Canada. In December 2016, First Ministers released the Pan-Canadian Framework on Clean Growth and Climate Change. Among other measures, the Pan-Canadian Framework calls for improving the energy efficiency of new construction through the development and adoption of increasingly stringent model building codes starting in 2020, with the goal that provinces and territories adopt a net zero energy ready building code by 2030. That's only 12 years away. Frankly, by 2030, I'll be more worried about where I put my teeth. But you younger contractors are going to be at the peak of your careers when net zero building is a fact of life. 12 years, that's not much. So let's get you ready now. In episode 3, we'll get above ground and figure out how ICF walls handle windows, doors, and mechanicals.